Hello everyone and welcome to New York, USA and the Bridgehampton circuit, the old street course of the Bridgehampton circuit, for another round of the SimRacingOnline Lola T70 MarkII challenge. We're watching Maddie Shepherd, championship leader, getting slightly held up in qualifying. Let's ride on board and see if she can get through cleanly. There we go, one of the other Lolas just ducking out of the way. And Maddie is about to show us how you do this old Bridgehampton circuit. It's a tough one, it really is. It's one of the toughest. In fact, Maddie Shepherd, I was talking to the other day, and she said that it was the most difficult circuit on the actual calendar this year. Judging by what I'm seeing so far, I'm not actually sure that this is the original street circuit. I think it may well be the more modern layout of the course. Nope, I seem to be wrong. Okay, well I'll figure it out. But anyway, Maddie Shepherd currently taking us through the middle part of the track. Now remember, it's Maddie Shepherd leading this championship by 9 points over Matteo Santini. However, Santini is not here today due to some reasons that I'll touch on a little bit later, and Laurent Lons is third in the championship. He is only 10 points back, so we still have a fight for the lead between Shepherd and Lons. 10 points is pretty much nothing in a championship like this. That can go either way right up until the final round. And Shepherd's first lap there is a 1:30.436. I'm still struggling to figure out what layout of the track we're racing on today, because it doesn't look like either of the track maps that I've got. But anyway, that's okay. A racetrack's a racetrack. Phil Crowster coming across the line for P2, not bad at all. Although this is still very early on in the session, so a lot could still change. The Lola T70 MarkIIs, they're all absolutely identical, all have big chunky forward engines, I believe, and not much downforce. They had more downforce than a lot of the other sports cars of their era, but still not that much compared to today. You can really slide the cars out, and it's difficult to keep them under control. And it takes a really experienced, really confident driver to race these things well. So, just over 10 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Lons goes up to third, so there we go. It looks like Shepherd has the first strike. Shepherd ahead for the time being, and leading with Lauren Lons, her nearest championship rival, only third so far. Here's Lorenzo Galuzzi. Galuzzi, one of the drivers who's made every round in this championship so far, and has been on the podium. Last time out at Laguna Seca, Lorenzo was fourth after qualifying second. John Van der Key is third, jumping up into to fifth place. So a good early performance from him as well. And sorry, past the sandbanks. It's going to be difficult here, because if you dip a wheel off the road, there's just gravel there, followed by massive banks, and cars don't exactly like to be tossed around on the side of a hill. So you need to make sure that you don't dip any wheels off. Galuzzi there up to fifth place. Not a bad start to this session at all. Who else can we find that's interesting? Here's Kevin. Oh god, hiccup, sorry. Kevin Martikainen following Maddie Shepherd at a distance, actually. And Lons goes to the top as we talk. 1:30.219 is the lap for Lauren. Not bad at all. In fact, very good. So this does look more like the race circuit than the original straight circuit to me in terms of track layout. Still a little confused by what I'm looking at, but anyway, I guess that doesn't matter too much. But if I'm right, then this is a 12 turn 2.85 mile course which used to run all the way back. In fact, actually ran NASCAR races here. Wow. Apparently, Jack Smith, Richard Petty, Billy Wade, and David Pearson all won at this track. Let's see what Matt Kynnen's lap time is. No improvements. I think he's just starting another lap. But yeah, interesting to see they run NASCAR races back here. They did used to run more road courses back in the day, didn't they? But anyway, also Trans Am. Mark Donoghue apparently won here twice in Trans Am. That's a name that I know from Formula 1 history. And of course, George Fulmer, the other Trans Am winner here, also a Formula 1 driver, finished on the podium at the 73 Spanish Grand Prix. But anyway, I'm getting a little off topic. 7 minutes left in this qualifying session, which determines the grid order for the 1 hour race at Bridgehampton. 14 drivers have currently set representative qualifying laps, or at least I presume. I'm not sure if they are all representative actually, because Phil Brown is usually a lot quicker than that. And Stephen Hayward, the only driver who's set an out lap but no full lap. Now if you'll excuse me for about 5 seconds, I'm just going to go and open the door for my cat so she doesn't meow all the way through this recording, and then I will be right back to continue. Okay, my apologies about that. Whoa, big off for Kimi Martikainen there into the grass banking, and that's what I was talking about earlier. You don't want to be doing that, and I'm sure that he won't be the last driver we see doing that today. Is Sid Drake, currently P9 in the bright yellow 77 Lola. Relatively short track here compared to some of the other tracks we've had on the calendar. Of course, Laguna Seca I think is definitely the shortest, but Bridgehampton not exactly the Nürburgring. 1 minute 32 if you do it, or if you do it like Sid Drake, who is now in the pits. So let's take a look at some of our main competitors. Here's Maddie Shepherd. As I said earlier, championship leader by 10 points. Of course, already has a win in this championship. Won the first round at Zandvoort. And knowing Maddie, she wants to win every single round, as of course everyone does. Into the pits on this occasion, so she'll be setting up for another attempt. Is Lauren Luns. Now her main championship rival, considering Santini has not turned up today. Effectively what happened there was, last time out there was a bit of controversy with the pit lane. There was kind of a fast lane in the pit lane, which you don't normally get at tracks like this, and that's why Phil Kraus was able to take a drive-through penalty without slowing down at all, and Santini ends up getting really badly affected by this, and he ended up falling out with the league a little in the process. But anyway, I won't go too much into that. What matters is that Shepherd and Lawrence still have a championship fight between them. Lawrence very, very quick so far today. He is over 0.3 of a second faster than anyone else so far, and showing no signs of slowing. Meanwhile, Maxime Tendil there just moved up into 7th place. And now that Stephen Hayward has set a representative lap, that means that everyone out there has set a lap in the 130s, or at least all 15 cars that I can see. There may be more in the pit lane or yet to join or something like that, but for the time being we've got to assume that we have 13 cars here today. And, oh sorry, 15 cars here today. Another lap coming in from Lons. Is it going to be another improvement? Don't think so. Talviti there improves his lap, stays 4th, or jumps to 4th, sorry. So that is a slight improvement from him. Lons going around for another attempt. Possibly finding some traffic. That looks like Hayward. Oh, it's Talviti actually, so not particularly slow traffic up ahead. Tony Talviti just 0.003 of a second off Maddie Shepherd there. Talviti actually hasn't raced in this championship yet, so welcome in Tony Talviti. Always one of the quickest Assetto Corsa drivers, and in fact 2 drivers for that matter, in SimRacingOnline. Recently won one of the Road to Indy races that I'm involved with, and came 2nd in the other, so yeah, very good driver. It's been a while since he's won an Assetto Corsa race with SimRacingOnline, but I'm sure it won't be too long because, as I said, he is extremely competitive. Lons there potentially being held up a little bit. I think he dipped a wheel into the gravel. As Shepherd there improves to 2nd, 130.137. So it's on in the late stages. I would look at Lorenzo Galuzzi, but he is in the pits. I believe that his session is pretty much done. Let's have a look at Maddie Shepherd, see if she can put in another time. This will be her last attempt, I think. Well, Lons has had an off, and Galuzzi and Talviti are in the pits, so it's just down to Shepherd now, pretty much. Oh, and Phil Kraus goes up to 2nd, less than a 10th off pole. Really quick from Phil Kraus there. Well done indeed, and he may still get another attempt, so maybe Phil Kraus can snatch pole in the late stages here. It all depends on what his last attempt's like. Let's keep watching Shepherd. She's going to cross the start-finish line just after the timer ticks down. And Kraus has parked it, so, well, not exactly parked it, but he's been off, so Kraus will not improve here. What can Shepherd do? This looks like the last corner to me. Big trail-breaking lockup. And I think touch the gravel. Yeah, that'll be it. That'll be it for Shepherd. She touched the sand, so no improvement there. And it looks like that means Lauren Lons has pole position. Less than a 10th of a second in it, but pole position is pole position. What can John Van der Geest do across the line? Improves, but stays 6th. Sid Drake, only other driver in the top 10, still to complete his final flying lap. Actually, I've forgotten that no, Kraus has been off, hasn't he? My apologies. Anyway, we'll know that the qualifying session is over when the screen starts going dark, because then all the cars teleport to the starting grid. Drake in his banana car. My brain really wants to call that. Behind the kind of strawberry ice cream. Why am I'm in a food mood? But anyway, strawberry ice cream liveried car of who's that up ahead? Not entirely sure because I think they've gone back to the pits. But anyway. And any improvement for Drake? Nope, he comes into the pits himself. So anyway, there we go. Lauren Lons has taken pole by 0.082 ahead of Phil Kraus. Then it's Maddie Shepherd, Lorenzo Galuzzi, Tony Talviti, John Van der Geest, Maxime Tendil, Mark Johnson, Dag Johnson. That's not going to be confusing at all. Different spellings of Johnson there. Sid Drake, Jari Lakkinen, Jos Ogos, Kimi Martikainen, Stephen Hayward, and Phil Brown rounding up the field. Not entirely sure what happened to Brown there. Maybe he just didn't do enough practice. But anyway, that's the grid. And we will be starting this race in just a couple of minutes' time. So congrats to Laurent Luns for taking pole position here today. It's going to be relatively important. It's a difficult track to overtake, not impossible, but it's difficult. So just a recap of the championship so far. Maddie Shepherd is leading it by 9 points from Matteo Santini, who's not here, so Santini will be dropping back. And then it's Laurent Luns, who will be Shepherd's main rival now, 10 points back. Luns yet to score a victory in this championship so far. The top driver who hasn't made every round is Phil Kraus, who's made 2 rounds and is fourth in the championship after a victory last time out. And Lorenzo Galuzzi 5th in the championship. And it's Jos Ogos, Phil Brown, John Van der Geest, Philip Stanovic, who unfortunately is not here today, and then Mark Johnson, the top 10. That's how they stand. And you can see on your screen how that translates to the qualifying performance. But anyway, it's advantage Luns today, advantage Shepherd in the championship. And we have precisely half the championship to go. We're 3 rounds in with 3 rounds still to do. Let's take a closer look at some of these cars actually. That's the camera car. There we go. Here's Laurent Luns leading in the deep blue, navy blue almost, number 8. Not quite as navy blue as Shepherd behind, but we'll get to that. Phil Kraus, light blue, 23. It's a good day to be coloured blue. Maddie Shepherd, the Scottish Curie Ecosse liveried car, and Shepherd herself is Scottish, so it's very, very accurate, I can't think of the word. Anyway, Lorenzo Galuzzi, P4, the first non-blue car, although he still has blue numbers. Then Tony Talviti, John Van der Geest, and the rest of this beautifully liveried field. So let's look back to the front as the lights appear. And when those 6 red lights go out, we will be underway at Bridgehampton for an hour of racing. And it's go. Right, away we go. Let's take a look immediately to the front of the grid. Hopefully it's clean. Last time it wasn't. That's a very good start from Luns. So Luns leads. Shepherd appears to have been coming through to 2nd. Indeed, so Shepherd 2nd, Galuzzi 3rd. Kraus has dropped all the way back to 4th. And then it looks to be clean. Yes, there's the back of the field. They're all through the first corner. So let's see if they can do the rest of the lap like that. Some swapping and changing behind Luns and Shepherd. Close as they go into the midsection of the track. Lakkinen and Johnson side by side further back. You can see them in the background. Everyone up past the sandbanks. Ooh, that's a bit of a lock up there from Martikainen. Keeps it clean on the inside. Ooh, touch! They touch! And wide goes Johnson. He's up over the banks. So our first casualty of the sandbanks. Didn't look to have hit the banks too hard though, so I think he should be okay. A lot of lost time though. But it's only the first lap. Long way to go in this race. Did something just happen to Sid Drake? Yeah, brief spin I think for Sid Drake or something like that. Because he drops a couple of places. And then gains 2 back again on, and Johnson I believe is off. Yes, look at that. So Mark Johnson recovering from a spin. Right, we do have some slipstreaming taking place on the start-finish straight. I expected we would. That's not going to be... I don't think Shepherd's going to be close enough. Turn 1's very, very fast. Brown's in the pits. Why is Brown in the pits? And Martikainen's had a bit of an off there in the final corner. I think, well, Brown's taken a drive-through for something. Not entirely sure what. But anyway, rejoins the race. And Galuzzi's had enough. So Galuzzi from 3rd place makes a mistake. Phil Kraus is on the podium, but he's not, because Talviti and Kraus are side by side. Kraus locks up, going very, very wide. And on to the sandbank. NASCAR style on the banking. And will drop back even further than Galuzzi did. So Talviti now 3rd. Unfortunate for Phil Kraus. Oh, the lead is getting very close here. The lead is very, very close. This could end up being a battle for the championship come season's end. Lions will be feeling pressured to fend off Maddie Shepherd here, I'm sure. Less than half a second in it as they come up to complete the 2nd lap of the race. John Van der Geest now has passed Urgos. Urgos loses 2 places. Almost lost a 3rd because Jari Lakinen's right there, so Van der Geest and Galuzzi both through. And also Phil Kraus there trying to make a bit of a recovery drive as we talk. Across the start-finish line for another time of asking. That's the end of lap 2, and Shepherd got very close to Lons into turn 1 there. Very, very close. That's not really an overtaking opportunity unless you're alongside. Kraus past Lakinen, so that's P8 now for Phil Kraus again. Next target, Jos Urgos. The last time's winner. Remember, Phil Kraus won the last race despite serving a drive-through penalty as a result of the peculiar fast lane in the pits. Up the inside, that was a good place to be, but didn't want to keep it in there just in case. We'll be wanting to make a much, slightly touches the rear bodywork of the car, but yeah, we'll be wanting a more straightforward way through. Paranoid I'm gonna miss something with the leaders, because when you're under so much pressure like this, as Lons is under right now, you can make mistakes. Just as I say that, Lons runs off, so Shepherd takes the lead. Maddie Shepherd put Lons under pressure. Lons did make the mistake that I was just about to talk about, and that's our first change of lead in the race. Will it be the first of many, or will Maddie Shepherd extend and run away? John Van der Geest through to P4 there, passing Max Tyndall. Good start for Tyndall there. Not sure he's running the top 5 yet this season. Across the start-finish line, Steve Hayward's had another off there in the back. Gets it running. Or does it? I can still hear an engine, but it's not really on very well. And Kraus has got past Ogos, so Kraus, up to P7 now. Next target, Lorenzo Galuzzi, and that's going to be an even tougher nut to crack. Galuzzi, of course, on a bit of a recovery drive of his own after dipping some wheels in the grass earlier on. Let's watch Tyndall. He's actually not that far off the back of John Van der Geest, and it would be very impressive if he could get up into 4th position. Tyndall's average finishing position so far this season has been 13th.33, so 13th effectively, and I don't need to tell you that 13th is a long way below 5th, so this is a big improvement from Maxime Tyndall here. Still the very early stages though, so I don't really want to be talking about finishes yet. Slight mistake through there potentially, looked a little slower than Galuzzi, and again it's very easy to be slower than Galuzzi. Galuzzi gaining through one of the sweepers. This is the final turn of the lap. Very difficult. You often see cars locking up as they trail brake into that. Meanwhile, Jari Lakkinen ahead of Jos Urgos for P8. And across the line to complete another lap. That was lap 4 there. Let's see where... Oh, wide goes Tyndall. Little mistake. Okay, so it's very much Tyndall versus Galuzzi and Kraus now. Latikainen has had an off in the final corner. Drops behind John's... Is that Johnson or Johnson? That was Johnson with the O. Galuzzi off. Didn't see how that happened. Sorry I missed it. But anyway, Tyndall and Kraus 5th and 6th. Galuzzi runs wide. So back to this fight. Bit of clean air for the time being. I'm sure that Galuzzi will catch back up if they continue to fight like this. But we'll see. It all depends on how long this goes on for. Up the inside goes Kraus. That's one of the best overtaking opportunities on the lap, but you have to be careful you don't run wide. Tyndall gets the switch back, but doesn't get the drive out of the corner. Phil Kraus keeps the place. So Kraus is 5th now, Tyndall 6th. And that's going to cause Galuzzi to struggle to catch up potentially. Brown now passing Draper for P10 after Brown's unexplained drive-through penalty. Into the final turn they go for another time of asking. And we're keeping an eye out for when drivers... Oh, Jos Ergos in the pits. And misses the box. That's a mistake for Jos there. Wow, missed the box by a lot. Still reversing. Needs to make sure he doesn't get disqualified for that. Goodness. Now Jos here is out. Jos is out of the race. Oh, that's a big shame. Our first retirement. And it's Jos Ergos. Yeah, big shame. I was wondering why he was coming in so early. Because you do have to make a pit stop here. You have to pit for all 4 tyres. But you're not expected to pit this early, and I can't see why he would unless there was something wrong. But anyway, so the field beginning to spread out for the first time in this race, the first real instance of that in this race. And that'll give us a chance to look through at some of the other cars we haven't seen. Here's Johnson, who we saw briefly having an excursion in the grass earlier on, but he is still running in this race. 10th in the championship so far. Although another driver who hasn't had much luck in terms of individual races. He's mainly there because he's made every race. But if he can keep it clean till the end, he has a good chance here of some decent results, because I'm sure that not everyone else is going to keep it clean. There are going to be places to be gained, especially when the pit stages start to take place. One of the difficulties with the pits in this league is that you can come into the pits at any speed and it slows you down automatically, but it does often mean that you... Whoops, as Tyndall has an off, I think. Yep, Tyndall on the inside. And I was just complimenting Tyndall for how well he'd been doing in this race so far. So Lakkinen's through and Brown will be through as well. That's a shame for Tyndall. Draper catching up. Is Draper coming through to 9th place? He'll be... Well, he took a look. But anyway, yeah, as I was saying, it's very easy to miss your pit box like Ergos did just now, and then you're in trouble because you have to reverse, and you have a chance of being disqualified, and you also lose a lot of time anyway, which kind of goes without saying. Phil Kraus is already catching John Van der Geest. In fact, let's take a look at that, because he is catching hand over fist, as you might say. MarkII has a brief off. Looks to be clean, doesn't appear to be hindering anyone apart from himself. So back to the fight for 4th place. Two very similarly liveried cars. Luckily not identical. We do have identically liveried cars in this league sometimes, which isn't great. But these cars ever so slightly different. Van der Geest with a kind of white stripe up the middle, go faster stripe, and Kraus with a more uniform light blue livery and a slightly lighter shade as well. slightly wider through there, but that's okay. It's all about the exit in that corner. Doesn't really matter how wide you go on the mid part. That looks very quick coming out the turn. It did look quick, but it's not a part of the course where you can really benefit from that. Out over the start-finish straight. Tony Salviti just set his personal best lap of the race, as he clearly hasn't given up yet about catching up to Laurent Lons, although he's a little way down now. Lons has been a little bit more consistent in this race so far. And talking of consistent, Maddie Shepherd leads by 2.6 seconds now. It's not a huge gap, and it's certainly not unassailable, but it's a lead. And Shepherd, and I don't want to curse anything, whoops, as wide goes Van der Geest. And also Brown and Lackinen fighting further back, but we're watching Van der Geest versus Kraus. Oh, they touch, they lean on each other. Wow, how did they get away with that win? The 4th and 5th place cars almost went spewing off towards the grass there. Somehow they just had the car control to hold it all together. Takes another look, in fact goes through because Van der Geest runs off. And that's how most of the overtakes have been done in this race so far. One driver's just pressured another into a mistake. And it's a legitimate strategy. And it works. And Van der Geest, the victim. So through goes Phil Kraus into 4th place. Now can he catch the 8 seconds to Tony Talviti? Possibly. It all depends on the consistency of both drivers, because we've got a long way to go in this race still. Not even a quarter of the way through. That fact will change in just 50 seconds, but anyway. Martikainen in the pits. I'm afraid he may have retired. He did that in the last race too, pulled into the pits and didn't go back out again. Shame for Martikainen, doesn't have the best of luck. Off on the inside, that's Johnson. The reason I'm stressing it is because we have another driver called Johnson, so the two Johnsons have to pronounce them slightly differently. And you can see, no, that isn't the other Johnson in the background, that's Tyndall fighting with Drake, but anyway, Draper, sorry. Actually, is that Drake or Draper? Because I haven't seen. Let me do this so it'll show me. It's Sid Drake, sorry. I don't know why I keep saying Draper. It's because, well, I do know why I keep saying Draper. It's because I'm commentating another league where there's a driver called Draper. My apologies, it's Sid Drake, of course it is. Sorry. Kimi Matikainen says, yeah, I rage quitted. Oh, okay. Sorry to hear. Yeah, you haven't had the best of luck recently. 10 laps of this race completed now. Shepherd leads by 3 seconds. Still not unassailable, but it's getting to a decent margin. Still though, 3 seconds, if you really think about it, that's nothing. I mean, you could lose that by missing your braking in the pit lane. You know, you could lose that by running through the grass once or whatever. So, you can't get complacent if you're at Shepherd. Yes, you have a lead. Yes, it's a decent lead, but it's not a comfortable buffer by any means. So, a quarter of the race done now. Which driver should we ride on board with for a bit? I tell you what, who better than the race leader? Let's take a look at this Bridgehampton circuit in New York. You can tell it's New York because it has a very similar scenery to Watkins Glen, in my opinion anyway. And a lot of the rest of the United States, but whatever. It's definitely US. smooth from Shepherd there. This car has a habit of being a little understeery, so corners like that won't be a lot of fun, but Shepherd made it look relatively easy there. Down the gears. And a nice purring sound on acceleration on the exit. That is a very nice engine tone. It's not so kind of relaxing that it puts you to sleep. It's just edgy enough to keep you awake, make you keep your wits about you. But it's not obnoxious. Yeah, not bad at all. Shepherd driving it very well. Here's Maxime Tendel. Seems to have caught up to Jari Lakkinen. And these two might be about to battle it out. Lakkinen's car, the car that always reminds me of strawberry ice cream. Just that white with the red stripes. I don't know why, but anyway. I guess that would make Tendel's car a tube of toothpaste, but anyway. No disrespect. Oh, that's a mistake from Lakkinen. Lakkinen running wide. Tendel through. And Drake might be coming through in this one as well. It's so easy to do that. We've seen cars locking up the inside wheels all the time. And if you do that, I mean, the car's just going to push straight on. Because yeah, you're generating friction, but you're also generating far more push, far more momentum, and the car's just not going to stop. So Draper here might get Lakkinen because of that. Not how you want a position to change, but if you're the car behind, you're rubbing your hands with glee, like, yes please. Now I don't need to set up an overtake, you've given it to me. So, yeah, it's a relieving feeling whenever it happens. It's actually one of the most common ways that positions change, especially at a circuit like this, where you've got absolutely no margin for error. You see the tiny little strip of concrete after the white line, and then it's just grass and sand and banks and barriers and trees. Look at those bushes there. I'm really glad that the safety of racing circuits has improved since this era, because I would not like to see modern racing cars racing on a circuit like this. Maybe in sim racing, but anyway. Kimmy saying, Maddie shining again, good job again from her. Indeed, she now leads by 5.1 seconds. There's a reason she's leading the championship, and that's because she is very, very good. Oh, mistake from Drake. Gathered it up really well there, actually. Didn't overcorrect it. Maybe even gained time through that corner. That was actually a really good save. Didn't look like much of a save because he wasn't, you know, drastically fighting for control or whatever, but there was a lot that went into that little manoeuvre there. But back to Shepherd, she's also a very nice person. There's a reason that I always mention speaking with her before. Whoopsie daisy, that's wide. Lakkinen making a mistake. Drake side by side. And Drake will have the inside line, but he's slightly further back, so which will matter here? Drake locking up! And through goes Tendel. Again, it's what I'm saying about making mistakes. It's so easy to do. But yeah, as I was saying about Shepherd, there's a reason why every race I say, oh, I was speaking with Maddie before this race, and she said this. It's because she's just such a nice person to talk to. You know, I'm good friends with Maddie, and yeah, she deserves to be leading right now. Also, hi Maddie if you're watching this afterwards. I think she tends to, so hello. Back to the race. And another mistake for Lakkinen. There we go. So Drake back through to 9th place. Sorry for always getting his name wrong, but yeah, Drake is back through to 9th place, and Lakkinen back down to 10th with another little error, just a little lapse of concentration potentially. That's all it takes sometimes. Let's take a look at Lauren Lund. Here's our second placed driver, who's about to lap someone there. Let's keep an eye on this and see if it all goes cleanly. That'll be... well, there we go. And that was Stephen Hayward. So through goes Lund. Or looked rather clean. And a good thing too. And Talviti just going through in the background. And that all looked rather clean as well. So well done to Hebner for not causing too much of an issue there. Lappery will be a factor because it's not a ridiculously long circuit, and of course with pit stops and with the amount of time in this race too, it's a 1 hour long race. I expect the field will be relatively spread out by the end, so there will be some Lapperies taking place. Some of them got a little bit in the way at Laguna Seca, but I don't think any caused that much of an issue. Just a little bit of a headache for the leaders at times. So hopefully it's a little bit better than that today, but it's difficult, you know, especially considering SRO rules say you don't have to duck out of the way for your opponents. You can just hold your line, and it's their job, the leader's job that is, to go around you safely. So Lackinen into the sweeping right-handers. I don't know why I keep describing corners as sweepers, because this entire track is just sweepers. So if I was to say that for every sweeper I see, I'd be here all day just saying the same things. But anyway, Lackinen's not done with Drake yet. He appears to be potentially slightly faster in terms of lap times right now. I think he's just made a couple more mistakes than Drake over the course of this race so far. Lauren Lund's meanwhile just set his personal best lap of the race. Still 6.3 behind Shepard, but I still wouldn't be entirely comfortable with that buffer if I was Maddie. It's still not entirely steady yet. In these cars, you can set fastest laps all the way throughout this race, basically. The tyres don't go off to a tremendous amount. And of course, you do have a pit stop for fresh tyres, or halfway through as well. In fact, the pit stop stage is about to start, I expect. So we'll see if anyone ducks in soon. Usually slightly more drivers pit in the second half of the race than the first half, but oh, and that's very wide, and another mistake, I'm afraid, for Jari Lackinen. Oh, and that's going to be in the wall. Yeah, oh goodness. Well, through goes Johnson into P10. Yeah, as I was saying, Lackinen just making slightly more mistakes than his rivals around him so far today, and is now down into 11th place as a result. Shame to see. That's a little bit of a gap to the other Johnson though. Whoops, he might not after that. Good save. Good save, but that's going to cost him time. He'll have maybe 6 or 7 seconds to Johnson after this. Who should we have a look at next? Phil Brown here. P7. Not having the best of days by his standards today. Brown usually better than this. Yet to score a podium this season, so maybe just not liking this car that much. But anyway, as I said, Brown usually a little better than this. His results so far this season have been a 6th place, a 16th place, and another 6th place. As Maxime Tendall pits, So, as I said, the pit stages have started. In fact, looking at Brown's results, he hasn't had a podium in a while. Hasn't had a SimRacingOnline podium in quite a long time, actually. That's interesting. The last round was on the Big Boys GT tour, Big Boys Toys GT tour, and that was December. Wow. Where he was third at Zandvoort. I really thought it would be more recent than that. He's definitely quick enough. Maybe just hasn't had the luck. His last win was last August with the Ferrari 458 Challenge Cup, where he took pole and won at Silverstone. But I don't think it's going to be that long before he does it again. I can't see him going a year without a victory. We'll see. Very, very close to the white line there. Touched the white line, but not the sand. That's what we like to see. Very precise driving there from Phil Brown. You wonder how they can do that so many times over the course of an hour and not make mistakes. Well, that's why so many people have been making mistakes, because it's very difficult to get right. Interesting to see cars bobbling over. Oh, is Lackinen and Tyndall are side by side. And that is Tyndall. Oh, remember, Tyndall's the blue stripe one, Lackinen's the red stripe one. These two have been side by side before. I think Tyndall must have made a mistake. But let's see. In the slipstream, this is over 10th place. Points go down further than that. Points go down to 15th, but here we go. Ooh, they're gonna rub doors. They don't have doors, but they're gonna rub. They do have little doors. Beside the point. Lackinen stays ahead, but lights up the rear tyres a little. I saw a car in the background there as well. Don't know if that was Johnson. Actually, I think it must have been Johnson, yeah. So I don't think they have to worry about leaders coming through anytime soon. But anyway, looking at the time, Shepherd will be maybe 11 or 12 seconds back down the road. Up the hill, over a crest. And another crest. Through what looks almost like sand dunes. It's almost like Zandvoort to look at here. And Tyndall lining him up. You need to really calculate your moves a couple of corners in advance here. Because, ooh, that looks like a mistake. Yeah, once again, Lackinen over the sand, and through goes Tyndall. But let's see if Lackinen can get him back with the slipstream. And I should correct myself, actually. Tyndall, of course, didn't make a mistake. He made a pit stop. So, missed that. Sorry. Into turn one. Once again, Lackinen did well to hold on to that car and not go even wider. Talking of wide, that was a little hairy. And Tyndall has... Okay, now we're back. We'll see you in a few seconds. Right, looks like we're back. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. My internet completely cut out. No idea why, but anyway. And that's a bad time as well, because now I don't know who's made pit stops and who hasn't. But anyway, we'll try to figure it out. So Shepherd appears to be leading by 10 seconds now over Phil Kraus, and then it's relatively close between Kraus and Lons behind. So not a bad fight going on for second place, or emerging for second place. And it's Tony Talviti, Lorenzo Galuzzi. Oh, and side by side go Brown and Kraus, or Lons and Kraus. So Kraus up the inside, and he's got it. Phil Kraus, who made the mistake at the start of the race and is now coming back through the field. Oh, and Lons has to run wide to avoid him there. But Kras has got back through into second place, and I presume that's in the effective order, because I don't see any other reason why those two would have swapped right there. After Galuzzi, it's Brown, then Draper, Tyndall, Van der Geest, Johnson, Lackinen, Hayward, and then the two retirements are still Yorsogos and Kimi Martikainen. But anyway, so again, really sorry about that cutout. We lost about 10 minutes of the race because the internet just wasn't coming back on again, and I've never restarted my internet box before. But anyway, less about that. Kimmy says top 4 has stopped. Okay, thank you so much, Kimmy. That's actually really good to know. And I assumed that, but it wasn't easy to figure it out. So I'm just going to assume that everyone I can see has stopped, and that is the effective order that we're looking at. Okay, let's go on board with Lons for a while to see if he can get back up to Phil Kras, or whether that's it, whether Kras has second place now and will be getting away. Decent line through that carousel style corner. These corners do have corner names, but as I said earlier, this track doesn't look like my track map, so I'm kind of struggling to figure out what's what. Anyway. Oh well, I guess. Into the final turn, which I am pretty sure is called... Oh, that's not even the final turn. My apologies. Ah, this must be the straight. We must be heading towards Aaron's turn now. Yeah, sorry, I'm starting to figure it all out now. So this is the final turn. This is Aaron's turn. Slightly wide there. Maddie Shepherd just set her personal best fastest lap of the race there. Now I don't have a graphic telling me when someone sets the fastest lap, but I'll get that working again for the next race potentially. And Lons does appear to be dropping back. That may be it. If Kras can just keep it clean from here. Good move, important one. And he is now in second place in this race and will be tough to catch. Now, were the laps that I was seeing from the leaders there 129s? Because if they were, that's even faster than qualifying pace. This is really impressive. Goodness me. Okay, well this is Echo Valley. And you can tell why it's called that, because the hills really do spring up on either side like a valley. And I can imagine it does produce some pretty cool echoes, even if sand and grass isn't the best echoey material. It absorbs a lot of the sound. Then we've got East Straight and Aaron's turn again. Not that many corners on this track. It's a very old-fashioned style, boxy looking circuit. And it wasn't a 129 I saw from Shepherd, because Shepherd's fastest lap is what she's just set there, a 130.1. Oh, but Kras is in the 129s. Look at that. That's amazing. That's really, really amazing. Talviti about a second down on that, despite being extremely quick right now as well. So Kras absolutely flying, and it will be tough for Lons to catch. I don't think Kras is going to quite catch Shepherd at this rate, but he is certainly pushing. Lorenzo Galuzzi purple as well, so that's personal best. Now Kras and Shepherd, I presume, are actually talking to each other right now, because they were in a call during the last race, and I think probably will be for this one as well, although I can't confirm that. So they'll probably be on friendly terms. They probably won't fight too hard, especially considering Shepherd is leading by so much, as Sid Drake comes into the to the pits, so Tyndall gets back into 7th, and then it's Van der Geest, and let's see where Drake comes out actually, since we haven't got much else going out on circuit, or going on circuit. Johnson goes through, that's P9, and then Maddie Shepherd goes through in the lead of the race as well, so Drake is P10. Should be decently happy with a top 10 finish, I'd say. But anyway, let's watch Sid for a while, see how he's getting on with those cold tyres. He's running in relatively clean air on the track, but most cars are at this point. It's starting to spread out a little in the background. A little way further back you saw Kraus and I think Kraus and Lons. Yeah, that would be Kraus and Lons, because Shepherd went through on pit exit. So Shepherd will be about 5 seconds up the road, and then Kraus and Lons will be about 5 seconds down the road, if that makes sense. Not that it matters much to Drake, he just needs to look out and make sure he doesn't get in the way when they come through. So we have just 11 minutes to go after this. It's getting towards the end of the race now. It's a shame we missed so much of it, because I was going to say it feels like the race has been flying past, but that's probably because I've missed a good chunk of it. Bit of a shame, but anyway, at least it doesn't look like we missed anything dramatic. Drake, a clean outlap. It's often difficult because the outlaps when your tyres are at their coldest, and you also have to focus on picking your braking point into turn 1 after coming out the pits rather than coming from the start-finish straight. So there are a couple of factors making it slightly difficult. It's possibly one of the most dangerous points of the race, other than the very first lap. Another dangerous point is right at the end, because that's when you're at your most mentally tired. Although personally I find it much easier to make mistakes at about this point in the race, maybe 3/4 or 5/6 of the way through as it is, because you're not fully focused on the finish at this point. It's just kind of, you're just kind of hoping the timer will start to bleed out. There goes Phil Kraus on the inside, going past Sid Drake cleanly, and then Lauren Lons is now 2 seconds behind Kraus. Ooh, lock up for Kraus, but keeps it clean. And Lons went a little wide there in sympathy in the background, but again, should be okay. So that's another lap completed cleanly for these guys. Let's take another look at Shepherd, our race leader, showing us how it's done. She said she wasn't feeling confident about this round. She said she didn't like the circuit, but she always says that before a win. I don't know what it is. It's going to be about 40 laps, maybe 37 or 38. I think probably more like 38, yeah. Not that that matters much, it's just a number, but she'll be willing the checkered flag on. The fewer laps, of course, the fewer opportunities to make a mistake or have a disconnection or something like that. Fire licking out the back of the car as she turns it in for the last turn of this lap. Got some more cars to lap up ahead, but that's a little bit of a gap, as you can see by the camera angle. So she'll probably reach them towards the end of the race. And she's really pushing here still. That was a 1:29.9, so that was even faster than her qualifying lap there. That may have been the fastest lap of the race, although haven't really been keeping track. I know that both her and Kraus are in the 129s. No real reason why she's going that fast right now, but often it helps drivers to keep their concentration if they go fast. It's much harder to drive slowly, a lot of people find. Very, very close to the sand, but again, millimeter perfect. This is great to watch. The number 30, Scottish navy blue, Lola MarkII, or Lola T70 MarkII, sorry. Runs wide, but that may just be her line. Kraus now within 10 seconds, but it's not exactly getting tense for the lead. And now dropping back a little, dropping back quite a way there. Did Kraus just make a mistake? Yeah, Kraus must have made a mistake because Kraus is right back with Lons all of a sudden. So something happened there. Oh, Lons looks up! Wow! Lons misjudged that. And that may be his last opportunity of getting back through gun, unless Kraus makes another mistake. But that was very close. Look at that, Kraus lost 3.2 seconds on that last lap to Lons, so something happened. Probably just ran wide and couldn't get the car back on for a couple of seconds. So that could spice up the end of this race. Lons needs to attack fast though. He knows that Kraus is extremely quick, and if he doesn't get through and put a block between Kraus and the endless expanse of tarmac in front of him, then Kraus is just going to get away. That may be what's happening here. Look at that, there's a gap forming. Yeah, that little lock up in the final corner, that could have been the end of Lons' chances for second here. He might well kick himself for that, but there's no saying that if he hadn't done that, he'd have been able to get through anyway. There's a chance, but it's easy to say that when you're not in the situation. John van der Geest also catching Maxim Tendel. We might watch that in a little bit. Just want to make sure we don't miss anything here. That's the start-finish line under the Pirelli banner. And the gap is now over a second again. So yeah, it does appear that Lons missed his opportunity. In fact, that was Kraus' fastest lap of the race. That may have been the fastest lap of the race. I think it probably was. Wow. Still, it's going to give Shepard a massive lead. Let's look back at Tendel being caught by van der Geest in the late stages. 2 seconds is the gap. It's been like that for a while, but van der Geest is pushing. Let's see if Tendel can keep it smooth to the end. It really is difficult to overtake a car in this series unless you get a much better exit than them or they make a mistake. Usually, if there's a change of positions, it's because one driver's been dragged through the gravel or something like that. Tends to be how it happens, although pit strategies have also played a good deal in these races. We didn't see much of the pit strategy today. It did occur, but sadly right when I was having the connection issue. That's wide. Who's that in the background? John van der Geest, yeah. So van der Geest from 8th place, weaving about, struggling to get the car back under control, and that's right in front of Shepard. Come on, Maddie, get through cleanly. There we go. If van der Geest had been a couple of seconds down the road, that could have been a little messy. But anyway, that's freed Tendel, so Tendel appears to be okay for the time being. And Shepard continues on her merry way. Here's Stephen Hayward. Has just been lapped by Johnson. Props to Stephen for running in this race. You often don't have much of an incentive to continue if you're 2 laps down. However, you very much should, because every person who retires is another place gained and some more points gained. Has Hayward made every run of this championship? No, he missed one. Okay, so points won't matter that much to him, but anyway, props him for continuing anyway. Less than 2 minutes left in the race. Shepherd just started another lap, meaning that she will probably get around to start another one. Well, she most definitely will. So, we're not on the final lap now, we're on the penultimate lap of the race. The leader is, anyway. Hayward has a couple more cars in his mirrors, but they're a little way back, so I'm not sure if he is actually going to have to give way to anyone else again. May well be okay to just hold position to the end of the race. It's always a good feeling for a driver when you know you're just kind of cruising home at that point. But you do just wish the checkered flag would come sooner. 1 minute left on the timer. 1 lap left in the race when Shepherd next crosses the start-finish line. Bit of a lock up there from someone or other, Galuzzi I think, but keeps it under control. Across the start-finish line. Shepherd won't be that far back. Shepherd will be starting her final lap of the race relatively shortly, and does start it now. Ooh, look up from Hebner. Touches the sand. Let's see if the drivers behind get through. It's Jari Lakkinen, sorry, not Galuzzi. So Lakkinen, actually the next lowest car in the race, and oh, and they touch! Oh, and they also collect a car, another car, that's Tyndall, who was ahead of them. Shepherd goes through cleanly, luckily, but yeah, Hayward and Lakkinen touched while Lakkinen was trying to lap Hayward. Looks as if there was just a miscommunication there. And Talviti in the pits! Now why is that? Maybe Talviti didn't make a pit stop until now. Well, I think he'll get away with it. No, Galuzzi goes up to 4th. Wow, so don't know why that happened, but anyway, Galuzzi will go through to 4th. Maddie Shepherd just has 1 proper corner to go before the end of the race. Hasn't been a particularly dramatic one for her, but she did have to fight her way past Lons in the early stages. And since then has just been extending the gap and keeping it very steady indeed. And this will be an extension of her championship lead. Maddie Shepherd will win for the 2nd time this series. Crosses the start-finish line, very well done indeed. Maddie Shepherd wins it. Fantastic. Kraus will be 2nd, Lons will be 3rd. Let's keep an eye on this battle for 4th. Talviti pitted on the penultimate lap of the race. It may also have been a splash and dash. Maybe Talviti didn't have enough fuel to reach the end. So Phil Kraus did finish 2nd, Lauren Lons did finish 3rd, and I think it's going to be Galuzzi and Talviti in that order, but I'm keeping an eye on them just in case. Congratulations to all of our podium finishers. Only 6 drivers on the lead lap in the end. Alright, here we go. And that would have been the last opportunity for Galuzzi there. Or for Talviti, if Galuzzi had made a mistake in the final corner, but he didn't. So Galuzzi 4th, Talviti 5th. And then Phil Brown will be the last driver on the lead lap in 6th place. A little over 1 minute and 10 seconds behind. Yeah, good job for finishing on the lead lap of the race. So Maddie Shepherd wins and extends her championship lead. Then it's Phil Kraus, Lauren Luns, Lorenzo Galuzzi, Tony Talviti, Phil Brown, Maxime Tendel, John Van der Geest, Mark Johnson, Sid Drake, then what's the other Johnson's first name? Dag Johnson, who comes into the pits. Still needs to cross the finish line, so not sure why he's coming into the pits there. Now crosses the finish line. And then it's Jari Lakkinen and Stephen Hayward, and that's the lot. So thank you all for joining me today. In 2 weeks' time, we will be live again from Riverside NASCAR circuit, and that's going to be really exciting. Riverside is a circuit where you can overtake, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So thank you for watching. Congratulations to Maddie Shepherd and all of our podium finishers. And from me, Caitlin Penny, it's good night.